He hadn't lost a single competition in over 2 years, 14 wins in a row. Then the Olympics started and nobody could explain what happened next. Stop. Before you keep scrolling, I need you to understand something. On February 13th, 2026, inside the Milano ice skating arena, the greatest figure skater alive walked onto the ice. The crowd roared, cameras flashed, the entire world had already written the headline. It was supposed to be the most dominant Olympic gold medal performance in a generation. It didn't happen. What unfolded in the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds shook the figure skating world to its core, and nobody, not a single expert, coach, or athlete on the planet, saw it coming. Not like this. My name is Your Name, and today we're going inside the most stunning Olympic collapse in recent memory. We're going to break down exactly what happened to Ilia Malinin, the quad god at the 2026 Winter Olympics. The real story, the pressure, the falls, the silence, and the one thing he said afterward that tells you everything about who this young man truly is. Stay with me, because this story gets darker before it gets better. To understand the magnitude of what happened in Milan, you have to understand what Ilia Malinin had built. This is not just a figure skater. This is a 21-year-old from Northern Virginia, the son of 2 Olympic figure skaters who had spent his entire childhood not just training, but redefining what the human body could do on ice. At 17, he did something no one in history had ever done. He landed a fully rotated quadruple axel in international competition. 4.5 revolutions in the air. They didn't have a nickname ready for someone like him, so they just called him the Quad God. And it stuck because it was accurate. By the time the 2026 Olympics arrived, Malinin had won 14 consecutive competitions. 14! He had won the World Championships back-to-back. He had set an all-time scoring record. Just 6 weeks before the Olympics, he landed 7 quadruple jumps in a single program, something that had never been done before in the history of the sport. His personal best score would have beaten every Olympic gold medalist in history by more than 30 points. So what went wrong? Here's where it gets complicated. Because the story of what happened to Ilia Malinin is not really a story about figure skating. It is a story about pressure, about expectation, about what happens to a human being when an entire nation, an entire sport, and an entire media machine decides that your victory is already guaranteed before you've even laced up your skates. In the team event earlier in the games, the first signs appeared. Malinin stumbled in his short program, finishing behind Japan's Yuma Kageyama. It was a small crack, barely noticeable, but cracks under enough pressure become fractures. And what happened next, nobody was prepared for. The night of the men's singles free skate, February 13th, Malinin had led the short program. He was in first place. The math was simple. Clean program, gold medal, done. The arena was electric. Nathan Chen was in the stands. Simone Biles was in the stands. Frederick Richard, Malinin's friend and fellow backflip enthusiast, was watching from the sidelines. As Malinin stood in the waiting area, the atmosphere was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Finally experiencing that Olympic atmosphere, it's crazy, he would later say. It's not like any other competition. It's really different. He had been to every major event, Grand Prix finals, World Championships, US Championships. But this was something else entirely. He stepped onto the ice and the crowd held its breath. His first jump felt good. That first quad, some of the quads, they felt really ideal, he later admitted. He felt ready. He thought he was in control. But somewhere between the preparation and the execution, something invisible and devastating took hold. The nerves, not the kind you train away, but the kind that wait in the deepest part of your mind and choose the worst possible moment to announce themselves. Those nerves arrived. The falls came. 2 of them. Uncharacteristic errors cascaded through the program. A planned quadruple axel became a single. A quadruple loop became a double. The program that should have delivered 30 points of separation instead delivered devastation. His score, calculated against his personal best, represented a loss of 72 points in a single performance. 72 points. Let that sink in for a second. When the scores appeared, Malinin covered his face with his hands. The arena went quiet in that particular way arenas go quiet when something historic and heartbreaking has just happened simultaneously. He had dropped from first to 8th. The gold medal went to Mikhail Shidorov of Kazakhstan. A brilliant performance that on any other night might have been the story. But on this night, every camera stayed on the 21-year-old from Virginia sitting in the kiss and cry. What he did next, though, that's the part nobody expected. Malinin walked over to the new Olympic champion and told him directly, "You deserve it." In a sport defined by perfection, in a moment of profound personal disappointment, he chose grace. The International Olympic Committee took notice, nominating him for the Fair Play Award for integrity and sportsmanship, not for winning, for how he handled losing. In the days that followed, Malinin broke his silence in a way that resonated far beyond figure skating. This message really represented how I've been feeling the last year heading up to these Olympics, he said during his gala performance, skating to a song about invisible pressure. There's been so much pressure, so much doubt, and everything around me. The noise, the media, the people, the environment. It's been so overwhelming. He wasn't making excuses. He was being honest. And in that honesty, something remarkable happened. The world started paying attention to the real conversation about mental health in elite sports, about the crushing weight of expectation, about what it actually costs a human being to carry the title of greatest in the world into the single most pressure-filled arena on Earth. But here is what the headlines missed entirely. 6 weeks later, Ilia Malinin walked back onto the ice at the World Championships in Prague. No quad axel, no 7-quad program, just an athlete who had been broken in public, who had sat with the pain, who had made peace with a moment he could not change. He landed 5 clean quadruple jumps. He screamed at the ceiling. He pumped his fists. He won his 3rd consecutive world title by 22 points. His world score that day? It would have won the Olympic gold medal by 37 points. The quad god didn't disappear. He was just getting started. And now, standing at 21 years old, with a new nickname, the Chaos God, and 4 years until the next Olympics, Ilia Malinin has said something that every athlete, every competitor, and every human being who has ever failed publicly needs to hear. Curiosity and passion is a weapon. Milan wasn't the end of his story. Looking back, it might have been the most important chapter. If you found this story as compelling as we do, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. I want to know, do you think what happened to Malinin in Milan was about nerves, pressure, or something else entirely? Let's talk about it.